Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live masterclass with me, Paul Garrigan, where today we will be discussing how to embody masculinity and how to cultivate this in your own life. So, really starting off with what masculinity is and what masculinity actually might mean for you. So, over the course of the next 10 to 15 minutes, this is where I will be sharing just some of the key foundational pillars and components for how to understand within yourself if you're tethered to your masculine core, or maybe you are becoming quite leaky in how you're showing up in the world, and this will really leak out, if you like, into every aspect of your life, whether that is your career, your relationships, how you show up as a father, and your overall presence in the world. And it's as if we are being disconnected from our power. So, what I'd like to speak about is really just helping you to understand where you're maybe at right now and where this can actually come from. The fact that we're maybe not connected to our own power and to our own masculine core, if you like, as a man, and equally, how we can maybe begin to step into this and begin to truly embody what masculinity means for us and live and speak from this place. So, beginning with, what masculinity may mean for you, and the signs that you may be not connected or tethered to this masculine core. So, just reviewing your own life when I speak these words and understanding maybe right now in your life, are you lacking direction? Are you lacking purpose? Are you lacking presence? Are you lacking assertiveness? Are you lacking taking action? Are you maybe messy in certain areas of your life that may need to be cleaned up? How are you in your interactions, in your relationships? And when we look at some of the components just mentioned, when we're disconnected from our masculine core, you would say that things can become quite messy in our lives in terms of how we show up, in terms of the current direction that we are taking. And this means that we are disconnected from our core of masculinity because we're not able to lead ourselves. We're not able to lead ourselves in what we're going after in the external world. We're not able to lead ourselves in relationships. We're not able to lead ourselves as a father. We're not able to lead ourselves in life. Now, men, there's absolutely no shame in this because we've never been shown how to show up in the world as men. And in mentioning what I just have, there will be good reason and great reason for why we're showing up in the present way that we are. And that will come down to wounding, to how we have learned to be men, to unresolved pains that might be showing up in how we have now stepped into manhood. And a lot of the time, this can come from, our early years in life, from how, our childhood maybe was, from then, how our relationship with our father was. And was that relationship close? Was that relationship healthy? Was realistic expectations placed upon my shoulders as a young boy stepping into manhood? Was my father emotionally attuned to me and able to see me? Was my father even present? Was he there? Was he around? Maybe he weren't. Maybe we were raised by a woman because, for whatever reason, my father was unable to be there in the way that was needed. Now, this will lay the foundations for us to step into manhood with an insecure sense of self and not tethered to a strong masculine core. that allows us to operate and speak from that place, which will then direct where we are now showing up in the world. And it will direct how we, again, show up in relationships, in careers, in fatherhood, in the life that we are creating, and also, attracting. So, just really maybe reviewing where that might show up for you in your life. And, if it means pausing the video and getting a pen and paper, maybe writing down if this feels like something that could be alive for you right now. And now really, we can be leaning into what masculinity is at its depth. So for me and in my understanding and in my learnings, masculinity means to be tethered to expansive consciousness. So it means having a deep, deep presence in the moment and having a deep, deep presence to life and a greater expanded awareness in each and every moment. And when we are tethered to this place, it allows us to start to show up in our interactions and how, number one, we're relating with ourselves because we understand ourselves. And number two, how we are then relating to the world. Am I able to be conscious in my endeavors, in my actions, in the things that I am doing? Am I able to be responsible and take full accountability and responsibility for where my life is at, past, present, and future? Am I able to maintain presence but understand where I maybe lose presence and take care of that, for knowing where, my own nervous system capacity lies, and to know my limitations in the world for the things that I am doing, and also for, for the feelings that I'm feeling, and also for the person that I am being. Now, this really helps us to take control and navigate our own energetics for how we are then viewing the world and where we're placing our attention, and the things that we're actually working towards, rather than just accepting that this is just the way life is, that maybe, my relationship is always going to be this way, because we lack, the willingness to do the work on ourselves, that we keep having the same arguments with our partners, we keep bumping into the same issues with our children, we keep searching externally for, for the glory, for, we might have the jobs, the money, the cars, the houses, the holidays, but it always seems as if something is still missing in our lives. So this would be an indicator that, am I able to be present? That, there's this never-ending void that I seem to keep moving towards, that I maybe keep avoiding and, projecting onto the external world. Um, so I would say this is my understanding of masculinity. First and foremost is understanding your level of consciousness and where and when you're going unconscious, and really working to reclaim that, and really working to work towards an expanded state of consciousness, and being able to be grounded in yourself and be safe in yourself as a man. Because if we're unable to, create that safety within ourselves, how are we able to then create it in our families, in our communities, in our jobs, and essentially in the world? Because we're disconnected from safety within ourselves. So understanding that, it always starts with, your closest circle of intimacy, which is you. And you are your closest point of contact in each and every interaction and relation in the world. Um, so now really, becoming more connected to really this, this masculine core, and how we can do that. If you like, how can we as men learn to get more connected to this, expanded place within us, and learn to operate from this place and speak from this place and act from this place and feel from this place, and then navigate our life experience and create, our mission, our purpose, our legacy, while operating not from a wound, but from wisdom, and operating from a strong masculine core and identity. So three steps, that have certainly served me incredibly well is, number one being learning to understand, men, who you are, And for me, the most fundamental aspect of that is learning to understand your own system, learning to understand your own nervous system, learning to understand how you have been, pre-wired up to this date when we may have been unaware, learning to understand how our nervous system was shaped from the time we were born to where we are right now. And when we begin to understand how we've been shaped, it then allows us to review who we are in this moment. And it gives our nervous system flexibility and adaptability because we're now looking at ourselves not as a fixed structure, but we're looking at ourselves as something that is fluid and something that can absolutely change. So, learning to regulate your nervous system, learning to, work through stresses, learning, is my normal state stress and burnout? Is my normal state overdoing? Is my normal state in relationship to overgive and sacrifice my authentic truth? Or is my normal state to disconnect and run when, things become quite intimate or things get a little bit hard within a relationship that we disconnect? And the same can go for our external purpose that, we're looking to achieve, great things. But as soon as a challenge comes, we sabotage ourselves. We bury our head in the sands. We don't believe we're good enough. And we keep going through this sort of loop pattern of sabotaging behaviors based on, our nervous system flexibility, and limiting beliefs that then play out through how our system shows up in the world. So that would be number one. Number two, number two for me would be, learning the art of embodied emotional attunement. And, what does that mean? Because we have probably never heard that much in the world as men. Um, where it's about creating a connection, man. So much of the time, we're so logical, we're so in the head, we're so busy, we're so externally driven that we lose connection to the wisdom of our body. And this is about coming out of the head and into the heart, where we become emotionally attuned to ourselves because we are felt beings, man. And the world is pulling us out of this felt experience and pushing us to be very logical, and overanalyze all the time. And the mind becomes so busy and life becomes fragmented and it can become really messy because we've lost our connection to our body and to our masculine core of presence. So, learning to attune to, your own felt experience, allows us to be authentic in the things that, and the things that are lighting us up. It allows us to move more intuitively in the world, but equally allows us to feel into, the things we're doing in the external world, whether that be our purpose and our mission and, the jobs that we're in, the things that are lighting us up, the things that we enjoy doing, and also to be able to do that in relationship with our partners. Am I able to emotionally attune to the needs of my partner? Am I able to attune to the emotional needs of my kids? Am I able to attune to the emotional needs of the world? And equally, is my partner and, the people in my life able to, what I call reciprocate that? Can they reciprocate that, that level of attunement towards me when maybe we're finding ourselves overwhelmed, stressed, dysregulated. This comes down to the art of, embodied emotional attunement, and being able to, understand your emotional landscape, man. It's something that as men, we've been conditioned to ignore since a very early age to, to stop crying, to shut down your natural feelings, to not be angry. Big boys don't cry. Go to your room if you're angry and deal with your anger on your own. And it's a part of us that's been shut down very much by the world, and by societal expectations and conditioning. So it's really opening the doorway to, for you to be able to really feel into yourself, man. And I know this is quite deep what I'm saying, but it is quite profound when we're able to learn how to do this. And what I would now say, man, is, the importance of finding your tribe and finding, that brotherhood, finding that alliance of men who are deeply connected to, to their masculine core. Because, I would say probably 95% of men right now are operating not from this place. There's a hunger right now in a lot of men to step up and step into the work of self-development and be the very best man that they can be. But we really struggle at finding, this healthy connection with other men because there's been such a wound there. Maybe that lies with our father and the men that we put ourselves around up to this date. And the unhealthy conditions we've created and the world have created in men only connecting in unhealthy ways, whether that's through fighting, through going to the pub, and through toxic competition, and throughout our lives, and finding this brotherhood container alliance of really high performing and ambitious men who are able to take you to greater heights and equally take you to greater depths in helping you to remain accountable, to take ownership for the life that you're living, for the life you're creating, for what you're moving towards, and taking care of the past, present, and future in your life and incorporating it all. It allows us to, be mirrored back to. So we're not missing any of our blind spots that, all of us have, that lurk, in the shadows that we don't quite capture. Sometimes when we're only looking from our own, limited perspective. So, there's a real importance for me, man, in finding this tribe and finding this connection. And, the world is changing, man. The world is changing at a rapid pace. And so we as men are required to step up and step into this change and embrace the challenge that we're now facing with men, with masculinity, and, and with families and with the world. With great challenge comes great opportunity. And for me, this is a massive opportunity, fellas, to really dive deeply into yourself and to ensure that we are showing up as the best possible versions of ourselves and firing on all cylinders in the most pristine way that we can. So to just wrap it up, fellas, and to finish at this point, um, if you've enjoyed this content and, if you find it helpful and supportive in understanding yourself as a man and, maybe, delving and jumping to the next step in your own self-development and personal mastery journey, then, it would be an invitation from me, to reach out to me to get involved in men's work and to take that leap. If not now, when? Nothing changes until we change. And being prepared to get uncomfortable, because as men we thrive in challenge, and it's a challenge from me to you, is to step into the arena of men's work, and it's something that will help you grow and create a life that you maybe never could have imagined was possible for you. And this is the power of stepping into men's work. So please shoot me a follow on Instagram, and give me a follow on my YouTube page and stay posted for any of my upcoming retreats and programs and intensives that I will be putting together in order to help support men on their mission to mastery and being the very, very greatest expression and version of themselves in the world. Thank you for taking the time out for listening and for listening to this video. And I hope to meet you very soon. Have an incredible day, whatever you're up to. Bye for now, everyone.